Hey, what's up guys? My name is Naam. So in today's video, I want to talk more about the extra $600 a week unemployment benefit and also talk about some recent updates to the HEROES Act if it does get passed and how it will affect your unemployment benefits. And also I'll do a Q&A at the end of this video. So at the making of this video, there are roughly around 36 million unemployment claims. And also we got some word from the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, saying that about 40% of those who are making under $40,000 a year are out of work. So recently the House did pass a bill called the HEROES Act. So inside this bill would have some effect to individuals who are receiving unemployment. But let me make one thing clear. This bill has not been passed into law yet. So this bill did get passed into the House, but now has to get sent to the Senate. So the Senate has to approve it, and if it gets approved in the Senate, it has to get sent to the President for him to sign it. And that's when this bill will get signed into law. But if this bill does get signed into law, your unemployment benefits can be extended much further. So inside of the HEROES Act would extend the $600 unemployment benefits all the way up to January 31st of 2021. And for certain individuals, it will get phased out in March of 2021. So just a reminder, and not to avoid any type of confusion, this has not been signed into law yet, and we may not hear anything about this until after July 4th. So as of right now, the extra $600 a week unemployment benefit will go on until July 31st or July 25th, depending on how your state scheduled their payments. So now this portion, I'm just going to answer a bunch of frequently asked questions I have been receiving in the comments. So the first question is that if I have to pay any of this money back. And to answer this, no, you don't. So the next question is going to be about taxes. So depending on the state that you live in, there is an option to get taxes withheld automatically from your unemployment benefits. But here in California, from what I found, is that they will only withhold taxes from the state unemployment benefits. As for the $600 a week, they did not withhold any taxes from that. But just keep in mind that the extra $600 a week is taxable income, so it would be smart of you to at least put aside 10 to 20% of that money just for tax purposes. So when tax time rolls around next year, you will get a tax form in the mail by your state unemployment offices, and you can use that to file your taxes. So another question I got is that if I became unemployed not due to COVID-19, do I get the extra $600 a week? So as of right now, if you are unemployed and you are eligible for state unemployment benefits, then you would automatically receive the extra $600 a week automatically. So it doesn't have to be related to COVID-19 related reasons. If you are collecting unemployment right now, you will be eligible to get the extra $600 a week. So now let's talk about retroactive pay. So I got a question from a person saying that they were unemployed for 2 weeks. Can they still apply for the time that they're unemployed, even though that they're employed right now? So basically in all states, for any benefits that you are entitled to related to unemployment, you will receive that money. Even though you are working right now, but if you are unemployed for 2 weeks in April, you will qualify for 2 weeks of state unemployment benefits and also the extra $600 a week. So if I was this individual, I would still apply for unemployment so I could get those 2 weeks. So now let's talk about eligibility. So I did receive a lot of questions about people asking me if they do qualify for unemployment because of this situation or because of this. Most state unemployment offices, they will tell you that if you think you are eligible for any type of benefits, they do recommend you to apply just in case if you are. So I could still give you my recommendations if you do qualify, but it really comes down into the state to see if you do qualify. So I got a question about a person who asked if they have now worked for a year or 2 years, do they still qualify for unemployment? In most cases, they would not qualify for unemployment just due to the lack of work history. So how unemployment is calculated, they usually look back at your last 12 months to 18 months. If you earn any income at that time and you meet a certain criteria, you would be eligible for some unemployment benefits. But if you have no to little earnings during that time period, most likely you will not qualify for any state unemployment benefits, so you would not qualify for the extra $600. But now let's just say that you haven't worked in about 2 years because you went back to school, but you were set to work for a new employer. You were hired there, but you haven't started working there. In this type of situation, since you have a lack of work history, but you were set to work, but this had some correlation to COVID-19, you would be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. So if your state has a separate application for that, I would apply for that type of application. So another question that I have been receiving a lot is that they are not getting the extra $600 a week or their payments are delayed. I really wish I could tell you guys some really good news about this, but unfortunately I don't have anything for this because most state unemployment offices, their programming and their computer systems are out of date, so they're not able to give this extra $600 a week on a timely basis all the time. Like I know there's a lot of states that have yet to pay the extra $600 a week. Like fortunately I do live in California, and California they have been paying the extra $600 a week to my wife. But if you have already received the extra $600 a week once, I'd wait up to another 2 weeks to see if you receive that money. If you have not received that money, I would try my best to try to contact offices if you can. I know it's kind of hard right now because all the lines are busy. If you can fax them, try. If you can email them, I would try to do that as well. If there's a Twitter or any type of like LinkedIn of a contact, I would try to do that as well. So there's really no good answers for this. We're really just hoping for the states to get their act together so they could give you the money in a timely manner. If you have not yet to receive the $600, but you went back to work, if you are entitled to the extra $600 a week, you still should be able to receive the retroactive payments, either on a debit card or through direct deposit, or depending on how you normally collect your unemployment. So now let's talk about people who are on Social Security retirement and unemployment benefits. So if you are on Social Security retirement or survivor benefits, you do qualify for both benefits, and your benefits will not be reduced just because you have a source of income from Social Security. So now let's talk about SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income and Unemployment Benefits. So whenever you do receive unemployment, whether it is a state benefit and also the extra $600 a week, this will be recorded as income and it will affect your SSI. So now let's talk about workers' comp. So I do get a lot of questions about people who are already on workers' comp and they're asking if they can collect unemployment or the extra $600 a week. So in most cases, no, you will not be eligible to collect unemployment just due to the fact that you're probably too injured or sick to be available for work. So to qualify for unemployment, you typically have to be available and actively looking for work. If that doesn't apply for you, then you will not qualify for the unemployment benefits. So now let's talk about unemployment and child support. So if you do have an active court order for child support, a portion of your unemployment will still have to go to child support. So depending on how your state handles this types of funds, you may have your unemployment automatically garnished to go towards child support. But now let's just say that you do owe a lot of money towards child support. Say you owe like $2,000. So if you do qualify for unemployment benefits and the extra $600 a week, depending on the state on how they deal with these type of things, your first few checks may go directly to child support until you're up to date with those balances before you can start receiving the money yourself. So now let's talk about PUA, which is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. This is mainly towards self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers, and individuals who have an insufficient work history. So there's been a lot of states that's already started to implement this program, but most states, it will give you an average rate. Like here in California, they will start giving you at least $167 per week. So depending on your income, you may qualify for a higher weekly amount. All you gotta do is report your earnings to the unemployment offices and they can actually qualify you for more. But this only applies to the state unemployment benefits. For the $600 a week, you just get $600 across the board. So now let's talk more about self-employed individuals. Let's say that the stay-at-home order in your state was lifted in June 4th, but you are employed as a rideshare driver like for Lyft or Uber. Can you still collect unemployment afterward? So let's just say that you're able to drive and you're still getting fares. You still have to report on the days that you did work, and eventually they may ask you on how much you made. So you can still collect unemployment, but it just may be a reduced amount. Because for the PUA program, even though that you're self-employed, you still have to attempt to try to re-employ yourself and still look for work. So now let's talk about after you apply, how long before do I get paid? I took my wife from start to finish when she applied for the PUA program, 3 weeks, almost 21 days before she got her EDD card in the mail and when she got the money dispersed. So in most states, most likely you will see the first payment within 3 weeks. So now let's talk about reduced hours. So if you do get reduced hours, you may get partial employment depending on how often you make and how often do you work. So if you make more than the weekly benefits after taxes, you may be disqualified. So also to add to this, if you had a reduction in hours for a short period of time, say for a month, you may qualify for unemployment for that certain period, and you may get the $600 a week during that month that you were reduced in hours. If you haven't already, I would recommend you to apply for unemployment. So now let's talk about how to stop getting benefits because you return to work or you just don't want to get any benefits anymore. So all you really have to do is stop certifying your benefits on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. So this next portion that I'm gonna talk about is all about returning back to work. So each state, they have their own little nuances of how they want to open up businesses within their state. Usually states, they will go through phases, allowing certain type of businesses to open up. Like for example, some states will allow people to eat inside their restaurants now. And if your place of work is now allowed to be reopened to the public and your employer is requesting you to come back, and if they're providing you with all the safety measures such such as masks, hand sanitizers, and all the needs that your state requires to open up a business, and they're doing it safely, then yes, you would have to return back to work. So based on my research, I found that some employers are actually having their employees sign a waiver. So in case if they do contract COVID-19, the employee is not allowed to sue the employer. So if you do refuse this type of work where the state does allow this type of business to open and they're doing everything that's safe, if you refuse this work, your unemployment benefits will most likely get disqualified. But there are some good cases where you can refuse work and still collect unemployment. So this also depends on your state as well. So if you're in a high risk population for contracting the virus, which means that you're over the age of 65, immunocompromised, or you have a chronic condition. So if this applies to you, but your employer allowed you to work from home and they're giving you your old salary and your hours again, most likely you will make too much and be disqualified from unemployment. So if this does apply for you, all you have to do is certify your benefits on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and just say yes that you refuse for work. So when this happens, most likely the unemployment offices will contact you for an interview and they will ask you for a rationale. Alright, so here's another scenario. What if your employer decides to open, but your state does not allow for that type of business to be open quite yet? Then yes, you can still refuse work and collect unemployment just due to the fact that that place of work is not suitable, which means that the state has not declared that business to be ready to be opened up to the public yet. So if this does happen to you, all you got to do is report that you refuse looking for work, and most likely the unemployment offices will call you and ask for a rationale. Right now, let's talk about looking for work. If you were temporarily laid off or furloughed, but you were expected to return back to your same place of work, in this type of situation, you are not required to look for work. But if you are laid off from your place of work and you're not expecting to return back to that place of work, you are still expected to look for work. Even though the job market is not great right now, you are still required to apply for jobs that's suitable for your occupation. So for example, let's just say that you are a retail store manager at a clothing store and you are laid off, but you're not expected to return, and you are getting paid like $30 an hour or so. If you are looking for work in the same type of field of management, but your local area is only paying $20 an hour of what you're used to make, which is $30 an hour, in this type of case, you're taking a significant pay cut, and yes, you can refuse work since this type of job is not deemed suitable for you. So where refusing work can be counted as fraud is that if you decide to take a job purely due to the fact that you're getting paid more now on unemployment than you are working. Just remember that this is usually a case-by-case basis, so anytime you do refuse your work, your benefits will most likely be on pause and somebody will contact you for a rationale. So now let's talk about exhausted benefits. This is the problem that I see most individuals face since a lot of states have not started implementing this part of the unemployment program into the state systems yet. But there are some states that did give some updates about it. Like for example, if you live in Pennsylvania, if your balance hits 0, you will automatically be extended for another 13 weeks. And also in California, that 13-week extension program is supposed to start on May 27th. Okay, so what I'm about to explain here is about exhaustive benefits. So this is going to correlate to your benefits year, which can be kind of like a complicated explanation, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. So whenever you apply for your unemployment benefits, whatever appears online or through the paper that you receive in the mail will tell you your benefit year, which is a 12-month period of when you're eligible to collect your unemployment benefits. So if you do exhaust your benefits within the benefit year, you would most likely have to wait until that year is up before you can file a new claim. So if you are within your benefit year, but you already exhausted your benefits, most of the states, they are supposed to notify you if you are eligible for the extension, and they're supposed to do it automatically. And also, if you already exhausted your benefits and you're still within your benefit year, most likely you will not be eligible to apply for the PUA program, which is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. So based on what I've seen in my research, individuals who have exhausted their benefits recently will most likely get their 13-week extensions first. Like for example, in California, if you exhausted your benefits after March 21st, they are supposed to automatically enroll you in a 13-week extension, and they're also supposed to notify you as well. And if you were unemployed and exhausted your benefits between February 2nd and March 21st, they're supposed to send you a paper letter in the mail for individuals to send out and return. And for individuals who ran out before February 2nd, they're supposed to notify you on the mail on how to do so, but I have not heard anything from that yet. So now let's just say that you're still within your benefits year, but you finished collecting your unemployment in November. You will most likely receive the extra 13-week extension after the states work backwards from the most recently exhausted benefits to the later dates. Alright guys, so that pretty much does it for me. I think I answered a lot of the frequently asked questions that I'm still receiving. If you have any more questions, questions, just let me know in the comments below, and I try to get to your questions as fast as I possibly can. I do receive a lot of questions on a daily basis, so just bear with me, guys. So that's pretty much all for me. I'll see you guys next time.